Right, this is Adedotun once again, and here with me I am with a very gentleman. When I say gentleman, he's a gentleman to the core. His name is Adewunmi Agbaje. He's a
Mm,
Nigerian physiotherapist that has found his way into the heart of the British. When I say the heart of the British, he lives here in the UK. And with me, we are going to dive into some questions for him, and we'll see how he will be able to do justice to these questions. And it's going to
mm,
entail life and experiences in the UK. The very first question I will ask, okay,
mm.
Mr. Agbaje, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes,
Can we
my
meet
name
you?
is. Yes, okay. Thank you so much, my friend, Mr. Dotun. Thank you for having me on this platform. My name is Adewunmi Agbaje. I currently live and reside in the UK. Have been here for like 2 years plus now. I came in through masters. I started with my masters. So I had my masters in cardiovascular health and rehabilitation. And in fact, myself and my friend here, Mr. Dotun, were in the same class. And we tried as much as possible to make sure we finish on time. We're able to graduate, and you know life has been happening to us in different ways since then. But thankfully, I mean, we are gainfully employed, and we're on a skilled worker route. Dotun is currently a physio. I mean, he currently practices right now, but for me, I mean, I'm doing something else right now, and I'm trying to see if I could to another pathway. Maybe sometime later on, I could get back into physio, but for now, I just um, maybe due to circumstances, I really can't do physio right now. But I mean, with time, I'll see what the future holds. And
Okay,
let's see. Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Thank
Awesome.
you so
Thank you
much.
very
Thank you so
much
much.
for that introduction.
Thank you,
And
man.
you've
Thank
been
you.
in the UK for about 2 years now.
Two
I'm
years
sure
plus.
there will be a lot of pleasant surprises
Hmm.
that you have come across. And one
Hmm.
of the things that I would really love to know and ask you is that uh, what's the most British thing that you have ever experienced since you've been living in the UK? What can you regard as the most British thing that you've witnessed or experienced?
Hmm. Okay. I'll put it this way. So I think the first thing definitely is the fact that I remember the day I came in, the day I came in through Heathrow in London. I remember that I thought I came in with a good jacket. Let me put it that way. I think I got a jacket from Yaba, which was like 2K or 1.5 or thereabout. And I came in and I was like, oh, which kind of coat is this? It was freezing. So I think that was the first thing. That was the first welcome to the abroad thing. Then I think, okay, so over time, one of the things that really struck me again about them was the fact that there's always this thing about courtesy. If you approach someone probably on the streets, or you're looking for like directions to a particular place. Like, I remember when I came in, I wasn't used to using Google Maps to go anywhere and all that. But I had to learn it, because there was a particular occurrence while I missed like my way. So I could, and my phone, I wasn't with internet and all that. So I had to ask. So I asked, and they were lucky. I was lucky enough for them to show me directions. And I think that has been consistent in the way and manner at which you are addressed here in the UK. People always
Mm,
approach you with
mm.
respect, courtesy.
Yeah, yeah,
They are doing something
very
for you,
true.
even
Very
down
true.
to the cashier when you go to the ATM, or probably when you go to buy something at the mall or something. There's always this yes, please. There's always this courtesy, which shows
So
like a
in
sign of
all,
respect. Yeah.
like how many times have you been able to say, or how many times have you said the word "I'm sorry" or the word
Ah,
"sorry"?
I've said it so many times. I've said it so many times. In fact, I've said it so many
And
times.
did you get
And
a nod?
I,
Did you get a nod of approval after saying it?
well, I think the first time I got a nod of approval, but the second time the lady looked at me and was like, "You don't need to say sorry. You don't need to be sorry." And it was then I learned that I now had to explain. I was like, okay, so and I said I'm sorry again. That this is how we are used to saying sorry. Back from where I come from. The cultural differences, the culture shock as well. So now, in my 2 years plus state, I've always lived with white people or the British people. So all of the house I stay in, even currently right now, I have got British roommates, and I can tell you that I see some things that they do, some characters they exhibit. You come home, everyone is just on his own. Your housemate may decide not to even say hello to you, so don't take offense. It's just normal.
Wow.
It's just normal. And sometimes they are all, chummy with you, wanting to know how your
Yeah.
day went, wanting to. So, I mean, at those times, so at first, I was a bit upset that, oh, why would I come into the house after work and I see people in the living room or people in the kitchen and no one is even saying hello to
And
you and all
they,
that.
they, they
And
can't they can't even say hello to you.
exactly, they can't even say hello to you. But at some other days, on some other days, I get in and everyone is all happy and all that. But I mean, I got used to it and I was
Uh,
like, okay,
wow.
I think this is something. This is just like a normal cultural thing. So don't. So from then I stopped
Mm,
being upset at all that, and I just consider it like as a way of life, as how they all live and how they see life, basically. And one thing again about them is that
mm,
so sometimes I get home, or sometimes maybe on like a regular day, they don't turn off the TV set. They always don't do that. So they turn on the TV. They could watch movies or they could watch anything on the TV, but their TVs are always on. They never turn off their TVs. So this is like third house I'm
wow.
staying. I go to the UK and that has been consistent with them. They never turn off their TVs. I don't know why. I was about asking someone, a particular British guy, about that. He was like, "Oh, that's how they developing that. That's how they do. They don't say the reason why they should go out or they should watch TV in the morning. Go out and turn off the TVs. Back in Nigeria now, you would turn on your TV set if you're not watching it. But here they just
Yeah,
leave it
know,
on
where
and
we are
they
faced
don't care.
with
Exactly,
unsteady
exactly.
power supply,
On steady
the
power supply, there's
voltage
nothing like
alone
that.
can destroy your TV set.
There's nothing like that exactly. And the third thing that struck me
Yeah.
again, I was still having this discussion with a friend, and I was like, since I got into this country, like I could never believe that you could get into a country whereby light won't shake for once. Like there's been light since I got here, October 19, 2021. I've never heard or I've never seen that. Oh, I get back home and there's no light, or if I've not even seen light shake. So I mean, it
Mm,
just boils down to the
mm,
fact that
mm.
so these things are actually possible. So I think we really have a long way to go back in Nigeria, and I hope we get there. To be honest, so it's shocking,
All right.
it's
Another
shocking.
thing
Yeah.
I would want to know is that, you know, coming down here, there's
Mm,
one thing that is common in public
mm.
spaces, and that is to kill.
Yes,
Did you
very common.
expect the obsession with queuing? And have you found yourself queuing just because is?
Mm. Um, okay, so I think one of the things that I wasn't so shocked at queuing because I mean back in Nigeria I used to watch a lot of movies and I used to see how people actually behave in public spaces. But when I got in, when I began to experience it, you know it now dawned on me that anytime I get to a particular place in a public space, even if I get there and I find people not queuing like me in the straight line, or I find them like scattered, I would always ask, "Oh, sorry, who is the last on the
Hmm.
queue?" Because I wouldn't want to find myself in a situation where I just go on the queue and
Yeah.
people are looking at me and like because you're a person of color, it could sound as like a disrespect to them, you know. And like I said
Hmm.
earlier, it's a country where there's orderliness, there's respect. People respect each
Very
other a
true.
lot.
Very true.
That's one thing I really
Very
love
true.
about them. Whether old, whether you know, people respect them. People respect each
Old
other
or
a lot.
young.
Yeah. So old or
Yeah.
young.
So,
So
you-
it
Uh,
yeah.
in any way, have you
Mm,
adopted any peculiar British habits, like
mm.
adding you like to words, or
Okay.
apologizing to inanimate objects, or
Mm,
trying to make the word G to reflect in pronunciation, like
okay.
I'm coming. I'm
Okay, okay. Hold
doing
on, hold on. I'm
so
doing.
all kind of habits.
Mm,
Have you adopted any peculiar habits that you know that is peculiar to the British people or the youth?
mm, okay. I think
Have you
the only one
adopted any?
the only one I've adopted is me always using please every time like I address people, even at work. If I want to make a request to someone, I always post please, either at the beginning or at the end. Then there's this thing again. There's this thing again. I can't forget. The one that struck me again was the one that so when you're walking into a public space, let's assume I'm going to a mall or I'm going to like a supermarket, and I get to the entrance, and let's say for example, it's not like an automated door, and I open the door. I don't shut the door right behind me because I always have to look at
Look
I just
at
have to look behind and see if there's
you are
another
holding
person
the door
coming in.
for the next
I'm
person
holding the
coming
door.
in.
Yes, yes. So that's one peculiar thing about them too. So that's why I say it shows in
Yeah, yeah.
their way of life. They're always very respectful. So anytime I'm
Mm,
always, I'm always considering the next person. You know, I'm always considering my neighbor. I don't just do things out of my own volition. I always make sure that the next person
mm,
close to me isn't affected by my own actions. So I think that's one of the major things I've learned too as well. And it just shows, in
mm,
how you don't need to be religious. You don't need to come from a particular sect to say, oh, you can't have regard for this person. Everyone is treated equally, and that's what fascinates me so much about them. It's really fascinating, honestly.
so
Yeah,
okay.
it's really fascinating.
So that's awesome. Have you been drinking tea
Mm,
or
mm,
back home? Are you used to having tea regularly or is something that you've started doing in here, if at all you are doing
okay,
it? How
okay,
do you see tea?
okay. Well, I've never been a fan of hot drinks. I mean, when I say hot, not alcohol, like in terms of hot as in. So for me, I've always
Yeah.
loved cold drinks. I remember even back in Nigeria, I never used to like drinking tea because of the hot nature, and I think that was due to the
Mm,
fact that Nigeria was like Nigeria is a very hot place. So back in the UK here,
yeah, yeah.
rather than me having tea, just because I don't like tea, I prefer to take coffee. So coffee has been something that I've adapted like a whole lot. And I think because I really now see the need for you to take coffee here because you can't be at work and be sleeping. You can't be at work
I'm sleeping
and be
because the
nonchalant.
work
You have to be
ethics
active.
is
The
different.
work
Yeah,
ethics is
yeah.
different. Your 12 hour shift is it if it's a 12 hour shift,
It's a
8 hour
12-hour
shift,
shift.
it's a 12 hour shift. No room for sleeping. No
No room for
no no
lounging.
no
No
long
room
no room for
for
lounging.
breaking.
Exactly. So I think that
You
has
cannot be rigmaroling.
exactly. I think that has increased my love for coffee drinks especially. So that has made me take
Yeah,
coffee a lot. I mean, secondly, again,
coffee.
because of the cold, exactly. You just want to take something hot, and so I think that in a way it
Something
has,
to warm
you know,
you.
yeah, something to warm me. Yes, so it has helped me, anyways. So
Okay,
yeah, my love
okay.
for hot drinks
That's
has
true.
increased.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
mm, it has increased.
Do you know the word bank holiday?
Mm,
And
yes.
do you find do you find the concept of a bank holiday as strange
Mm,
as it sounds, or
mm,
is just an extra day off for you? What do you
mm,
think about bank holidays?
mm. Bank holidays are like one of the best things that could happen to anyone here. So as a Nigerian person or as a black man, your bank holidays are not for sleeping. But to a white man, he just wants to rest and chill, because they're like public holidays. And more fascinating, I think they really, in the UK here, the holidays are, I don't think the holidays are up to 10 in a year. I'm not so sure, but they really have holidays. So on those holidays, like bank holidays,
Mm,
especially, the logical thing is for you to rest
mm,
and just take some time out. But because when you work on a bank holiday too, you get paid double. So I mean, if you
mm.
can have something, if you can have like a shift on that day, that's a plus for you. So, but when I got in and I was like, oh,
Very true.
bank holidays, I was like, what's you want to need bank holiday? So I was surprised that, oh, so you could actually work on a holiday and they paid double. So I mean that was a culture shock for me
You
too as
you
well. I was like,
you are
do you
paid
get it?
doubles on
They
the
are
bank
paid
holidays.
doubles on
At
number.
For me, at first, when I heard the word bank holiday, I thought it's for banks, that the
Mm,
banks will not open
exactly.
on that
The bank
day.
will not open on that
I
day.
didn't
Yeah,
I didn't know that it's translates
for
to
everyone.
holiday in general.
Holiday in
However,
general.
there will be history towards
Mm,
it, which
mm,
I don't think is necessary for us right now.
mm.
But bank holiday, being that you have a double pay, you go to work and you are paid as though you
I
have
am
worked for
paid.
2 days, or
Mm,
so it makes a lot of sense for Africans that
mm,
are here for hustling.
mm,
So that's just that about bank holiday. Another
mm,
thing I would love to ask you is, how have you been coping with the unpredictable weather?
mm. Okay.
Or have you been able
Um.
to predict the weather, and
Mm,
how are you coping? How are you managing it with it?
okay. I think on that, I can score them like a 9/10. If it's possible to score them like 100, because the weather forecast they are usually on point. So when they say the next day will be like 5 degrees or 8 degrees, you know, the next day comes and you see that okay, so it's
Mm,
actually like, so they get these things on point. But I mean, sometimes as people always say, or as I've experienced, sometimes rain falls. A lot of times rain just starts falling. Then also one thing again here is that I think for the first time, there was one time when I came in newly, I didn't used to go out. So anytime I go out, I feel like it's quite cold. I just put on my cardigan or just wear something, maybe like a double layer clothing, and I won't wear my jacket. But there was one day that I knew that anytime you go out in this country, you always have to make sure that you have a jacket on, except it's summer. And that day I swore to myself, I was like, any time I'm going out, because I thought it was just 8 degrees, but it was feeling like something else.
mm,
It was so cold. So I now didn't use it. It was then I used to now check. So anytime I'm checking the weather forecast, I will now check. I'll say, okay, it's 8 degrees, but it feels like 5 degrees. So you actually know that this one you're going out, you have to make sure that you wear extra clothing, and you probably wear your jacket and all that. So I think for the weather, it's been more of because for example, last Christmas we had white like a white Christmas, but this year winter just feels like maybe like summer in a way, because it's barely cold, compared to what it was last year.
mm.
So, and I think that's because of climate change and all that. But I must say that on the weather forecast, I know, like they always get it, like 9/10. They are always so accurate,
Wow.
with the weather.
Wow.
And but it rains like no man's
Like,
business. But the good thing about the rain is that it is not like the one we have in Nigeria, that it rains very heavily. You just have showers, except when there are adverse weather conditions, like maybe a storm or something, where it's too windy,
okay.
or there's a problem. Yeah, but
But
regularly,
sometimes I feel the rain could be a bit heavy, but we are not just able to feel it that much, because there's one thing
mm,
I discovered, that when it's raining here, you hardly know until you step
yes,
out.
until you step out, you hardly
It's,
know.
it seems the way they build the houses
Yes, the roofing
is in a way
system.
such that I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
the roofing
very true,
system.
very
So
true,
we tend
very
to
true.
think that the rain is not as
It's not
heavy
heavy
as
as.
it should, as it is
Very true.
actually, but
Yeah,
it could be heavy in real sense. So
yeah,
so with
yeah.
that, I wouldn't want to say that the rain is not that heavy here,
Heavy.
because sometimes when you are at work, you don't know
Mm,
if it's raining. When you are
mm.
indoor, you don't know if it's
You
raining
don't know.
until you
Yeah,
step out.
true. I agree
So
with
it's
you.
like
That's
that.
that's on point. Yeah, that's
And
on point. I agree.
there's a question I forgot to ask you.
Mm.
I forgot to ask you, how many times have you been offered a cup of tea?
Countless times.
Maybe in your place of work,
Countless times.
they offer you a
Countless
cup of
times.
tea countless times.
Countless times. Countless times. I think that's
So
that's
times
like the
have you
default.
accepted the cup of tea?
Okay,
Do
so
you normally accept or sometimes you reject?
most times I accept because one thing I noticed was that most times when they offer you that is a form of gesture from them to you, showing that, oh, okay,
Good,
I
yeah.
want to go and make a cup of tea, and I think or I consider you that you may need one. So
Mm-hmm.
for me too as well. So each time I'm at work, or each time I'm maybe, of course, I'm at work usually, and I'm in the midst of my colleagues, especially the white colleagues, I know, and I want to get a cup of tea. I would usually ask them, and most times they always say, "Oh yes, you can make me one." So I think it's a cultural
Mm.
thing, and I think it's a way of showing that, like I said, it's a way of showing that, oh, I care about you enough for me to think that I want to, I'm going to make a cup of tea, and I think you should have one too as well. So it's all part of how they
Yeah,
think about
sometimes
each
yeah,
other.
I
Yeah.
I do feel that
Yeah.
maybe a cup of tea can solve all life's problem. So each time they offer you, it is believed that it will solve all your problem.
Some of your problems, yeah, honestly, honestly. No, you will learn how to drink tea. Yeah, you learn it. Oh, no. Oh God, honestly.
Oh, it's interesting. And when I
Mm,
came in newly, I struggle with bus stops. I struggle with bus stops. So that will make me ask you this question. How
mm.
many times have you struggled with um, bus stops
With bus
or
stops.
the route to your destination?
Mm. Okay. Um, what I would say,
How
and
many
that
times have you accidentally stood on the wrong side
on the wrong side.
of the road?
Mm. Well, that has happened many times. I can't count as to accidentally stand on the wrong side of the road. But I think what helped me basically, so I think that thing is quite relative. So when I came in, I was lucky to stay in London because I stayed with my aunt for like 3 months. And of course, we all know that the transport system in London is very good. It's like very, very good. It's like one of the best in the UK. And so I was quick to actually know all those points because I mean, if you stay in some other cities, or maybe not all cities, if you stay in some other areas, you find that their buses don't even work like how they should on a normal day.
Mm,
For example, a place like Crewe, I remember vividly, and I tell people any day, anytime. Bus system, transport
mm,
system there is shitty. To be honest, you will stand at the bus stop. If at the right bus stop, at the wrong bus stop, the bus doesn't come. Transport system increase is nothing to write them about.
it's
But in
not.
places like London, so one of the things that I did was that I was able to use, I mean, they have different apps, Transport for London and all that. So that helped me,
Yeah.
to navigate those buses and those stops. So what I usually do is like anytime I'm going out, I just turn on my Google Map. So Google Map too helped. Before you reach a particular bus stop, you see it. Then when you get there, you are able to see, okay,
Yeah.
am I on the right side or I'm on
Is
the
it?
wrong side? So that helped me too. So when I find out that I'm on the wrong side, I quickly cross over to the right side, you know. And again, some buses would, in London particularly, the buses there would always prompt you for the next bus stop.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things about London buses too. Or like maybe the one in Chester here. The one in Chester here really doesn't. The ones here really don't tell you, oh, you
Okay.
are going to the next bus stop. You have to figure out yourself.
Yeah.
But the ones in London are
Yourself.
very, yeah, those are very
You
good
know, London seems to be more sophisticated when it comes to
in
transportation.
transport.
I
Yeah.
think, and yeah, their
Mm.
transportation network is quite good, I would say,
Mm.
compared to other cities
So
around the
that's it is,
UK.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why you could live in London for years without owning a
Vehicle.
private car because
Mm.
public transportation network there is close to excellent. I would say
Yeah, it's
it's
close
close
to
to
excellent.
excellent.
Very
Uh,
good.
so I
Yeah.
will ask this question. Uh, it may look quite funny. Sometimes when we are at place of work,
Mm.
colleagues have some level of discussion. They could be
Mm.
discussing a certain topic,
Mm.
of which this topic is something you don't even know.
Mm.
You don't even have idea.
mm,
It's something they are discussing about, say, a particular meal or a particular event that is not common to you, that is not even in your knowledge base. So do you, in such scenario, do you pretend to be an expert in that topic
mm,
and just be nodding head as if you know exactly what they are talking about, or you just expressly say it that, oh, I don't know anything about it?
mm. Okay,
What's your
well,
strategy?
I think for me, the strategy I use basically is that so when I find myself in the midst of my Oyinbo colleagues and they're having such discussions, um, a lot of times I just watch and just try to pick one or two things. Or if I probably, because sometimes you don't even hear them clearly because of the intonation and all of that. So in those cases, what I just do is I just try to see if I could pick one or two things to even have like an idea of what they're talking about. And some of them, sometimes they're kind to tell you, oh, okay, so have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? So in those times, I just tell them, oh, if like especially if I don't know, I'll just be like, okay, I don't know. Then they'll now be like, oh, okay, something
Mm,
happened in so in so year. They just try to. So I think for me, that's just my strategy basically. But when they talk of things, especially when they start talking about football and maybe politics and all that, I could still flow. But when you start talking of some things that has to do with
yeah,
history or their way of life or the things they do, that are peculiar to the British people,
or what they
or
eat.
what they eat is normal and it's okay for you
Yeah,
to say, oh, I don't know about this, you know.
yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
because why would you say you know, and when they now start asking you questions, you now be dumbfounded. So in those cases, I just
Mm,
say it as it is. And I think when you do that, I mean, it just gives you. So there's no need for you to be ashamed. That's just what it is. Because even day two,
yeah.
when we are talking about, so
They have
I had a
things.
colleague that asked me about juju, that he hears about juju. And what do I think about juju? That is juju real? I'm serious. Yes, I woke and I told him, I said, that yes, it is. And those things fascinate them because you'll be shocked that they want to know, about some things that
Don't
we
they know
know.
about voodoo?
Exactly. They want to know about voodoo, juju, and all of that. And like, is it real? I was like, yes, that is real.
And that has a lot to do with the African magic,
Mm.
and because they've watched a lot of our
Yes,
programs,
they do.
especially
Mm.
the Nollywood,
Yes, yes.
that goes to tell that we should be very intentional
Honestly,
about what we export to the
yes.
rest of the world.
To the yeah.
So
Mm. Mm.
if it that having said that, we can say that the Nollywood has not been doing well when it comes to exporting who we are, when
Mm.
it comes to branding and doing PR for we as a people.
As a people,
So most times, and even we as a people, we tend to spread more of negative things about ourselves, and we downplay the good side of
everything.
of ourselves.
Yeah,
So that goes to tell us that we have more to do by ourselves and for
for
ourselves, so
ourselves.
that
Yeah,
the world can begin to see us in a different
yeah.
light.
To be honest with you, we've had some challenging discussions at work sometimes. When some of them they just feel like, oh, they hear that, oh, this is happening in Africa, blah blah blah. So with the way I, communicate with them, I don't communicate with them and say, oh, I come from a very bad place or Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. I've had some colleagues that have said, oh, that they feel they want to come to Africa, and I tell them, you can come to Nigeria. So I don't make it look like,
Yeah,
yeah, I tell them you can come to Nigeria, but at the same time,
because Nigeria is actually a beautiful
yes,
place to
to
visit.
visit. And I tell them,
Nigeria is a beautiful place to
and to be
visit
honest, this is,
because
mhm,
if they visit Nigeria, they will see how rich we are. They will see how diversified we are.
mhm,
They will see how we are rich in entertainment, in
culture,
meal, in
everything.
food, in culture, in everything.
Mm,
So we are very rich people.
mm,
So I see no reason why anyone will go out there, even on social media or wherever, and play
and
the
downplay
nation, the country
at all.
called Nigeria, because we are
Mm,
rich. We are very, very rich. The only
mm,
thing that we still struggle with, like every other countries all over the world are struggling with, is leadership.
mm.
It's leadership.
Very true.
And it is not raining only in Nigeria, it rains everywhere.
Ruins
Just that we
everywhere.
have learned to amplify our own more.
Exactly.
So
Especially with
that's
social
what I
media
see
and all of
about
all
it.
that.
Nigeria is
Yeah.
not entirely bad as the way people could portray her.
Mm. Mm-hmm. It isn't. So what I just tell them is, I
So
mean, I
so
just tell them
so
that you just have to experience it yourself. You could go around, take vacations. When you take I told them, I said, it's not every time you take vacations and you go to Albania, you go to Spain, you go to European countries.
yeah,
Try out some African
yeah.
countries
The
and
the
see.
the the common African country they visit is either Egypt or Morocco.
Or Morocco. And yeah, I
Yes,
specified.
Egypt or Morocco.
I
Yes,
specified,
they
yeah.
could visit Nigeria.
You visit Nigeria. You
They
visit
have
Nigeria. I
a
told
lot
them,
of things to enjoy when they visit
honestly,
Nigeria. A lot
honestly,
of things.
honestly. Yeah. So, you know, and I share, and I even told, there was one of them I told, I said, the way things are here, whereby, you want to get something and you can get it on credit and all of that. I said, back in my own country, I said, that to show you that, well, people are wealthy back from, like, back home. People don't buy things
Yeah.
on,
On
there are no
credit.
facilities for you getting stuff on
People
credit.
buy in
You buy it
cash.
outrightly. And he was like, huh? I told him, he asked me, he said, how much am I paying for? How much did I pay for my master's? And I told him, I said, 10K plus. And he was like, wow, why would I pay 10K for a master's? I was like, this is what it is. So they don't believe that. They don't, so they have this notion that, oh, it's a very poor place. People are living on trees. But actually, people have serious money back home. And I tell them with pride, I said,
Yeah.
people are doing really well, excellently well. People migrate for different reasons. So whatever I see on
Yeah.
social media may be projected wrongly, about Africa
Yeah.
and about where we come from and all. But you need to visit for yourself
Yeah.
and see what it is.
You
You'll
need
be shocked
to.
at the
That's what
cars you
it
see.
is.
You'll be shocked at the houses you see back home. You'll be shocked at facilities you see. You'll be shocked at a lot of things you see. Different from what is pictured on
Mm,
social media. So I just think it's very important that
mm.
as Nigerians, we are experts. We come here. We should try to project good things about our place, about where we come from.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the world need to start seeing Nigeria as important as the way we truly are. And this is
Mm,
my reason. Nigeria stand to be one of the largest exporter of capacity.
mm.
When I say capacity, I mean human brain. And
Remember,
human
yes.
brain is the most thing you could deal with. So
Mm,
Nigeria stand to be one of the largest exporter of this capacity. So with that, the world should respect the fact that this is a Nigerian. We are
mm.
Nigerians. So they
Yeah.
should not see it the other way around as if uh, we escape into their space. No, it is not about
Not at all.
escaping. It's
Mm,
about capacity. It's
mm,
about capacity. Because if
mm.
I'm useless or you are useless, I'm sure no, they would not really want us.
Yeah.
So it's about
And
capacity.
you
So
see,
Nigeria is stand to be an exporter of capacity.
yes. And you see that brings me to the point of a lot of us that came here, especially with having to do the postgraduate here. You find out that, I mean, there are a lot of people that come here, they get very fantastic grades, you know, and so that just tells us that, I mean, the brains are there. That tells us that we have a lot of capacity,
The brains are
in us.
there.
The brains are there. Because to be honest, so back in Nigeria, I thought masters was just a walkover. The way people painted it, oh, third class in OAE or Unilag is first class abroad. This is abroad. It's a different ball game.
It's not
I
so. It's
remember
not so.
and that's one thing that actually fascinated me when I came in. I was in shock because I was like, so there can be another way to learn, because everything is there for you to look at, and everything is there for you to read. There's light, there's internet, the resources are there, library is equipped, so it's just for you to sit down and you know. So, I mean, I also, figured out that because of the crash program, I feel like the master is always a crash program because you really don't have time. There's a lot of work for that you need to
Yeah.
do. So, I mean, that's why it now feels like, oh, some people are struggling. But the real sense of it, if that time is there, a lot of people will benefit more, from their postgraduate courses here because it's not, like
Yeah.
it's really deep. I remember when I had my first assessment and I saw the way the lecturer marked my scripts line by line. It was just highlighting the points. Oh, why did you say this here?
Yeah.
Why didn't you, for everything you say, you have to have a backup. And I was like, no, no,
Yeah.
no. It was like I was happy and I was sad at the same time. I was sad because I didn't really,
Mm.
do well in that particular course. But I was happy again that, oh, so I could get this level, I could get this standard of education, to show you that,
Yeah.
oh, you know what you're doing. So it's no, no, no. It's really fascinating, honestly. The experience here,
It,
education system
it
is fantastic.
is very,
To be
very
honest,
fantastic.
it's
I
very, very
must,
fantastic.
I confess to that.
And I
I
remember,
can
like, I
attest
told
to
my
it.
friends, yeah, I told my friends, I was like, I think so. And I tell people that are coming through the work visa, I said, if you can still find a way to do a program, you know, you do it and you understand why they are the way they are. Like you understand why the system is the way it is. It's a thorough system that you have to. So you just have to know what you are doing because you can't feign you're not being able to do something just because you can't do it. You have to be able to do it. So if you are, for example, if you are working in a particular
Yeah.
sector, you have to justify why you are paid 50K or why you are paid 25K or why you are paid 70K.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they are
Mm-hmm.
inflating money for. It's not that they are inflating salaries for anybody.
Exactly. It's not like back home
It's not that.
where somebody will say is an HOD, head of a department, but does not
But
work.
does not work. You can't.
It will come to work in the morning or to the office. Don't let me say work. It will come to office in the morning and it will sit down and be chatting on his phone.
Mm,
It will come in the morning, it will come 10 a.m.
mm,
He will chat from his phone, but we will stay there in office. He will never attend to anything. We will chat, be on WhatsApp, argue on
again,
several groups.
mm,
And once it's about 12 or 1, he will carry his bag and tell the other junior colleagues and say, see you tomorrow, see you on Monday. He's gone. She
it's
is gone.
gone. No, no, that doesn't happen
The
here.
junior ones will be the one that
Mm,
will do the work itself.
the work
It
itself.
doesn't work that way this in this
Mm,
place.
mm.
The higher your rank,
The
the
more
more
responsibility you have,
responsibility.
the more responsibility you
If
have.
you are a band, say band 8 or officer or band 8 professional, the kind of level of work that will be on your neck
Mm.
cannot be compared to what a band 5
Band 5 or band
is
6.
dealing with.
Yes, yes. True.
Though band 8 may not be now let me speak because I'm medical. So because I work within the health sector, so a band 8 person may not be doing core clinical work anyways,
Mm,
but the kind of administrative work that will be on her neck or on his neck,
mm.
a band 5 will never
Yes, yes.
get. You are still band 5 or you are band 6 or band 7. So same with band 7 to band 6. So unlike
Mm.
back home, once you are senior, you say I'm now a
You are not
senior,
doing
they will not
anything.
want to work.
Exactly,
It is
exactly,
it is not like that.
exactly.
You
It's
have
not like that. Mm-hmm.
to do the job that they
Mm.
are paying you for.
Exactly. You have
So
to. Yeah,
that's the difference.
that's the difference. So, and they
There's
say
work ethic, there
to
is
whom much is given.
responsibility.
Exactly. To whom much is
Yeah,
given,
much is
much is expected.
expected.
That's what plays
Yeah,
here. That's what plays
that's
here.
what it plays it.
Mm-hmm. That's what plays
So
here.
let's round up this with let's say I will ask you this question to round up this, and the
Mm.
question would be in the UK for 2 years, 2 good years.
Yeah.
What has been your mainstay? What is that thing that you say make you happy every time you wake up? What is
Mm.
that thing that gives you joy by virtue
Mm.
of you being in the UK?
Mm.
That is one.
Um. Mm-hmm.
Lastly, what is
Mm.
that thing that make you feel sad each time
Mm.
you remember you are in UK? What is that thing?
Okay. Let me start with the the sad one. So the yes, I'll start with the sad one. And to just say it, the sad one is that, I mean, you just wake up. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, and I miss home. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I see. So, for example, as time as um little as it seems, palm oil. Since I got into this country, I've not tasted any palm oil that tastes close to what we have in Nigeria. So sometimes
Mm.
when I cook and I use a particular palm oil, I'm like, waiting with this palm oil,
Mm.
plantain.
Yeah, using
I'm using palm oil,
color
plantain,
fluid.
colored palm oil, plantain, actually. So it doesn't. So it just feels like, if I'm in Nigeria, if I was in my country now, like, so as little as it is, I mean, it's something. It means so much to me because I'm like, so I can't even have a feel what what is at home. That's the first thing. Then secondly, the other one is about the fact that, I mean, you can't. So for you to connect with your friends or with people, for example, myself and daughter now, before now, we've not. I don't think we've spoken in how many weeks or how many months. Everyone is busy.
Mm.
You're like, so before you meet someone, you have to call, okay, plan, okay, will you be available so time, so time. So it's so regimented that I feel like we are just living like robots. You go to work, you come back home, you go to work, you come back home. Like, everything is all set up, like, and you can't afford not to work for a day or work for a particular time because your bills are there.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you're meeting a target every month, and there's no excuse for you not meeting the target. But back home, I mean, I think life is a lot more chilled, more. You can decide to, do. You're free, so that freedom is there. But I mean, to get that freedom here, you need to have stayed for a while,
For
getting
a
towards your
while.
settlement. Yes. So,
Yeah.
and that reminds me that everything I'm doing right now is actually a process. Life is actually a process. So I know that in 3, 4 years time to now, I'll look back and say, okay, thank God I took this step, because I know it's going to be for a greater good. By that time, I'll have my freedom, and I can go into business. I can go into anything I choose to do.
Anything you want.
So it just feels like
Mm.
right now where like I'm in GS1, and I'm looking forward to the day I got SS3 and do my jump and
Yeah.
get into school. So that's what it feels like. So
And
I think the good thing is that, I mean, I know that this is a land of opportunities. Abroad generally is a land of opportunities. Sometimes I wake up and so I look at something. Oh, this one is another field. I look at the requirements. Is this something I can do? I tomorrow I see something again. So at every point I'm seeing opportunities everywhere. And
mm.
I'm now
Uh,
like, I now have that feeling like, oh, okay, I, can I do this one? Can I do that one? But of course, there's a danger in that too. The danger in that is that
yeah.
you can have so many things that you want to do, but you remember that you need focus. You know, so the land is just like
Mm.
a land of opportunities. That if you're not even careful, you find yourself doing so many things, but you're not sticking to one
Mm.
thing. There are lots of opportunities. So that's one thing I'm grateful for,
Very
that
true.
God has helped me.
Very
I'm
true.
I'm lucky to be here. That, okay, I can be in
Very
a place
true.
whereby I can decide to wake up and say I want to do just anything I want to do. So far I want to,
Yeah.
and I have the capacity to. That's just
Yeah.
what makes me happy
You are
about it.
very right. Like you said, you are lucky to be here,
Mm,
but I do always reject the word lucky.
mm,
I would say you deserve to be here because you've
mm,
put in certain level of work
mm,
to that has accumulated into getting you to where you are. So we will
mm,
not say you are lucky. We will say
mm.
you deserve it because you put in the work. So I don't really like the word lucky
Lucky.
because that
Mm,
was what I think is a kind of lazy word uh, uh, that some people will want to just use. So I would say
mm,
for me, I'm not
mm,
lucky to be here. I would
mm,
say I
mm.
actually wanted to be here, and I am here
Definitely.
because I
Mm.
have the concept that every human being is a global citizen. I believe
Yes.
every human being is a global citizen, that you are
Mm,
not really, in the real sense, you are not, or you do not belong to a particular country. However, you were
mm,
born in a country, and that makes you a citizen of that country. But in the real sense, you were born into this world. So
Into
you
this world,
own
yes.
your the primary thing, you were born into this world. So you are a global citizen. So you must
Mm,
learn to explore your global license that is given to you by virtue of your birth into the world.
into the
So
world,
you
yeah.
go into the world, you whatever barrier that is in your way, you learn how to surmount it, how to overcome it,
Mm,
and you get to
mm,
wherever you so desire. So it's certain level of work you put into that, even if it's to
yes.
just even it would be just mere dissipation of your energy, even if you take it to
Yeah.
walk from A to B,
A to
it's
B.
work. So I would
It is.
say we deserve to be here. I would not say we
Mm,
are lucky. So as many that will watch this program, and
mm,
you think or you are planning to relocate, remember, you are a global citizen. You are not tied to a certain country or a nation. If you desire it, you can achieve it, you can get it. Put
you
the
can get
work
it.
and you get yourself there. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for
Thank
coming. Thank
thank you
you,
so much.
Agbaje. I really
Thank
appreciate your time.
thank
Hopefully,
you so
we
much.
tend to
Thank you so much.
do more of these sometimes again.
Yes.
I really
Yes. Feel
appreciate
free.
you
Feel
for
free to hit
coming.
me up.
All
Yeah,
right.
you're welcome. Thank you so
Okay.
much for
And
having me.
the British people always say they say cheers and goodbye. I'm still
Cheers, mate.
confused. Should I say cheers or will I say goodbye?
No, I think it's cheers. I
Which is,
think it's cheers.
are you sure? Are you sure it is
Cheers.
cheers?
It's, it's cheers, mate.
Okay, I will say goodbye for now then.
All right then. Thank
You
you
say
so much.
cheers. I say goodbye for
Cheers.
now.
Cheers, my bro. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.